And that matters. But capability is no longer the scarce thing. The real question now is, once everyone has access to the capability, who can turn this into impact? And that's the move from capability to execution. So this talk is about the execution layer, the part most organizations underinvest in, and the part I believe ecosystems like ours understand better than sometimes we realize. So 2 years ago, your advantage was building faster than competition. So you hired the best engineers, you moved faster, you shipped sooner. That was the game. Today, every team builds fast, and AI made sure of that. You can prototype in hours. You can generate code, content, design, summaries, research, workflows. The production layer accelerated for almost everyone at the same time. So why are most organizations still slow? Because capability scaled, but execution didn't. So the models go faster, the tools go better, but the organizational muscle around them did not automatically improve. So teams still debate the wrong problems, decisions still wait for meetings, and pilots fail to become shipped systems. So the gap between deployment and impact, this is what this talk is about. And I'll tell you what this looked like for me personally. I spent more than 20 years at Microsoft. I knew what big teams with big budgets can build and how they can build big things. When I went independent and started my own business, MacTech.ai, I expected to feel the constraint of being small. What I found instead was different. With the right execution architecture, I was able to ship faster than teams of 20. Not because I was smarter, because I stopped optimizing for the wrong things. That was the lesson. AI capability gives you leverage, but execution architecture determines whether this leverage becomes real. Here's my answer, and I want to put this on the table early so it frames the discussion. Capability plus execution stack equals impact. So capability means the models, the API, the agent frameworks, and the automation tools. Those are becoming widely available. They're not perfectly equal and not evenly distributed, but available enough that are no longer the whole advantage. So capability is now the floor, not the ceiling. Execution stack is the multiplier. So by execution stack, I mean how you select the problem, how you design the system around the work, how quickly you turn output into learning. This is what separates activity from impact. So everything I'm going to show you for the next few minutes is evidence of this equation. 1,445%. So that's the reported surge in enterprise AI agents adoption in 18 months. So this is not a trend in the casual sense, it's a structural shift. Agents are moving from experiments to infrastructure, and code generation is no longer a new thing. In many environments, a large share of code being written now is AI assisted and AI generated. The point is not that every output is perfect. The point is that the cost and speed of production have changed. So when building becomes near instant, the bottlenecks don't disappear, they move. So they move from production to judgment, from can we build this to should we build this? Can we generate an answer to can we trust the answer? Can we ship something to how fast can we learn from shipping our products? This is why many AI programs today feel busy, but they're not transformative. They added capability, but they did not redesign the judgment and the learning loops around it. So what used to be true was simple, like the best builder wins. So the team with the most engineers, the deepest technical expertise, and the most sophisticated architecture and technology, they had an edge. That was true for a long time. But what is shifting now is this: the fastest executor wins. And I want to be precise here. I'm not saying the fastest coder wins. The fastest executor is the team that selects the right problem, moves with discipline, and compounds learning faster than competition. So your edge is no longer only technology. Your edge is speed, focus, and systems. Because once everyone can build fast, the difference is not who can produce more output. The difference is who can turn output into learning and learning into better decisions. And here's what I find telling about this shift. So execution under constraint is not theoretical here. It's a muscle memory. The Palestinian tech sector is not an aspiration on a slide. It's real. Roughly 4% of GDP, 6% annual growth, and thousands of people working in and around technology with a steady pipeline of university graduates entering the field. So notable for efficiency and talent quality and cost competitiveness. And it grew under conditions that would stop many ecosystems, but it did not. So what I want to, I don't want to frame this as a hardship story. So the point is look how, it's not the point, look how difficult it has been. I think the point is, look what execution under pressure produces. When the capital is scarce, teams learn to build lean, and they learn resilience. And when they don't have the luxury of time, they learn to think clearly. So what the rest of the world is now forced to learn, which is how to do more with less, and how to move before the conditions are perfect, and how to focus under pressure, we've been living that. This is not a liability. This is institutional knowledge. So if execution is the new edge, what does it actually take? I use this simple frame, the execution stack. It's 3 layers. So first is ideas. So it's not how many ideas, it's the problem selection. So it's a discipline to choose problems with real pull instead of chasing technically impressive solutions. And second is systems, not bureaucracy. It's the architecture for execution. So the decision rights and the feedback loops and the operating cadence, and also the ability to move without waiting for every question to become a meeting. And the third is action. So it's not just random motion, it's disciplined building and shipping. So the habit of treating every release we ship as a data point and a learning. So this is not, I don't see this as a formula, it's an architecture. Every organization now has access to more or less the same AI capability. What you build on top of it determines whether that capability becomes impact. So let me make that stack practical with 3 diagnostics, right? So first, ideas. Agents can execute almost any idea with unprecedented speed. So that means the quality of the idea matters more than ever, not less. So when execution was slow, chasing the wrong idea was expensive. Now, when execution is fast, chasing the wrong idea becomes fatal, because you can scale and waste very, very quickly. Second is systems. So organizations that struggle with AI, they're usually not lacking the tools. They are lacking the internal architecture to move quickly. Systems thinking means knowing which decisions to make fast and which to make carefully, and how to build feedback loops to make that whole organization smarter over time. And third is action. So disciplined action means that we tolerate imperfect output in service of faster learning. It means shipping, learning, and compounding. It means treating every release as a data point. So how many iterations did your team ship last week? That number is your learning throughput. Cursor is a good example of this execution stack. March 2023, they were 3 engineers with no revenue and a fork copy of VS Code. In December 2024, they roughly made $100 million in annual recurring revenue. A team of only 12 people, and one of the most adopted AI coding tools in the world. And look who were they competing against. They're competing against the likes of Microsoft and GitHub Copilot. They had enormous distribution, they had big investments, they had deep technical talent and a major head start. So what was the difference here? So Cursor shipped weekly. Microsoft, they shipped their product more like a large institution. One team optimized for learning, the other optimized for the process. Speed of iteration, in this case, beats scale of investment. So now map this back to the execution stack. Ideas, they picked developer tooling, which is a painful problem with real pool, and they stayed focused. Systems, lightweight decision-making, close feedback with the end user, and very little organizational drag. And action, they shipped weekly. Every release became a data point and a learning from them. So once building becomes near instant, the bottleneck is judgment. Cursor's advantage in this case was not just they could build, it was that they could learn faster. So now back to some numbers. More than 75% of organizations deployed AI. That's capability. Only 31% are generating real measurable value from it. So the gap here is not technology problems. It is execution problem. The gap between installing the capability and AI and changing how work actually moves. So this is where the quote from PwC becomes useful. What is compressible becomes cheap. What is incompressible becomes power. So compressible work, in this case, is work that AI can replicate and automate and make faster. So code and summaries and emails and reports and analysis, that becomes cheap. And it stops becoming the source of an advantage for you. What becomes more valuable is the incompressible layer. So that's your judgment, your taste, your problem selection, and your execution discipline. So that's the edge now. AI makes building solutions cheaper, but it doesn't make that judgment automatic.
معتز أنا كتير آسفة
Yeah.
يعني it's a very interesting conversation but we have to يعني finalize in like 2 minutes.
I'm almost done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So this is again, like this is where I want to take this model home and I'll be done. Okay. So ecosystems under pressure are always figure this out. Okay. The Palestinian tech sector has been running execution first, not because they read the strategy paper, because we had to. There's no choice. And look where we are right now, right? This event, the Palestine AI Week, it's an ecosystem of execution. So bringing all this talent together and building this national AI muscle. It's saying that we are part of this conversation, not as observers, but as builders. So I'll leave you with this and then we'll wrap up. Okay, so 3 questions I want you to ask yourself this week. Again, it's not an abstract strategy. It's like something you discuss maybe with your teams. So where are you slow despite having AI? So it's not like where you deployed AI or did not deploy AI. It's like where have you deployed it, but you're not getting any meaningful change. And what decisions still require meetings that shouldn't, right? That's your system gap. And thirdly, what human judgment are you building that no AI agent can replace? Because if AI can compress the work around the judgment, your judgment becomes the more valuable asset. And with those questions, thank you so much for having me. Sorry for a very quick presentation.
شكرا كتير معتز وأنا كنت بدي أحكي